So Will Smith offered an apology. Well, not really Will Smith, more of his manager team offered an apology. Now, I'm going to be honest, this pisses me off for so many reasons. Okay? Because the apology wasn't made after it happened. It wasn't made maybe 20 something, 30 minutes after it happened. This apology was made after he done practically, partied the night away, him and his wife and everyone, everyone sat there and partied the night away. And then maybe the day after he offered an apology. And I'm like, bro, your apology don't mean crap. Like it means absolutely nothing. Because you're not apologizing because you mean it. You're apologizing because it messes with your bottom line. Okay? That's what it really comes down to. And Jada Pickett Smith pisses me off as well. Okay? Because, she's been silent about this whole thing since it happened. And the first thing that she posted, okay, the first thing that this dumbass post was 2020 something is a time for healing. Seriously? You're not gonna sit there and offer an apology for your husband's behavior of walking over there acting like a damn caveman? That's your response towards this whole thing is it's a time for healing? Are you kidding? You know, there are people that are defending his actions. Smith is saying that he stood up for his wife. You are a grown ass man in your 50s, not some high school teenager that want to sit there and pick a fight because they disrespected your girlfriend. You're a grown ass man. How many times does this man sit there and tell his children to not put hands on people when you gotta sit there and try to solve your problems? And yet that was the first thing that he did when a comedian, which was actually doing their job, said something about his wife. Mind you, he laughed about it prior to him walking up there and doing what he did. You know, Jim Carrey had the right idea. When he was, he said he was disgusted about about the whole thing, the whole incident. He was like, yo, I was sick. But yet you got dumbasses like Tiffany Haddish, which, by the way, should just do the world a favor and shut the F up forever. Came out her mouth and was like, well, he defended his wife and, she stood by him, like she stood by Will decision to do what he did because, he was protecting the honor of his wife. And I'm like, Tiffany, don't you got a DUI on your record? So you are the last person on the planet to sit there and start talking about morals and values and right and wrong. Okay? You made the conscious decision to get behind the wheel knowing that you are under influence and drive your car. You are the last person to be sitting there speaking up for anyone as far as this topic is concerned. And it pisses me off as a fan. It pisses me off as a fan because I'm a huge, or somewhat, maybe was a huge fan of Will Smith. Okay, so for him to sit there and do what he did, okay, he smacks Chris Rock like a little bitch, okay, and then he gets back on there, he accepts his award, which is completely BS. He, says this speech about love and this, that, and the third, which is just outrageous at best. And then he decides to go to the after party and dance and rap and do all this, that, and the third and celebrate with his family and friends as though nothing happened. And then when his bottom line starts to be affected, he wants to sit there and try to give out some sort of BS apology. And have his dumbass wife make a post about healing. It pisses me off so much. It really pisses me off. Okay, because then I gotta sit there and think about all the movies and all the things that I don't know if I actually want to sit there and watch. Like Cobra Kai, which is one of my favorite shows on Netflix. It's produced by that jackass. And I gotta sit there and think, I'm so excited for the next season of Cobra Kai, knowing that every time I sit there and click on an episode, I am somehow contributing and giving money to this man who decided to walk on stage and hit someone because he didn't like what that person had to say. This is the world we live in. This is the world we live in. And it's one of those things where it's like, I understand that certain things could be like debated, and some people feel like, one way and other people feel like the other way. And I generally don't like to sit there and really piss on other people's opinions because it's different than my own. But I just don't understand on what level do people sit there and think that the way that Will Smith handled it was the right way. Because if you're siding with Will Smith, then you are condoning violence. You're condoning violence. You're basically sitting there saying, and I've was sitting there listening to like Power 105 and people are calling in and stuff like that. And you have people sitting there saying, well, I'm glad he did what he did because he defended his woman. And I'm like, what kind of men are some of you women looking for? You're looking for a man who would sit there and get into a physical altercation to defend your honor. And you act as though there's no sort of consequences towards your actions. He's a father. And if he didn't have the money that he had and he did the exact same thing, guess what? Daddy isn't coming home. Daddy may not be coming home for a while. How are we going to sit there and pay the bills? But you're sitting there telling me that there are some people that are sitting there that are siding with Will Smith, and so you're condoning violence in that same breath. There's no two ways about it. You're a grown adult. You're a man. Okay? You handle things in a civilized manner. Or at the very least, you don't put hands on them. There are so many different ways he could have went about doing what he did. He could have went on there. He could have embarrassed him. He could have made jokes about him. He could have yelled at him. Okay, he could have been mad. He could have been yelling at him, and that would have been, okay, whatever. He got upset, and he didn't know, or whatever the case was, and that would have been that. And yeah, we might have looked at Will a little bit differently, like, yo, why are you sitting there yelling? Like, he didn't know, but that was his first reaction, to sit there and get upset, and we understood that. But he made the conscious decision to get up, walk on stage, and do what he did. And we're sitting there celebrating that? Come on, bro. We're supposed to be better than that. We're supposed to be better than that. Men are supposed to sit there and be logical and rational to some extent. There was a better way to handle that, and that was clearly not the way. And for the fact that people are sitting there siding with him, defending him, standing by him on caveman-like behavior, and I hate sitting there saying that because I know there's some women that would sit there and always use that as some sort of insult. But that's literally what he acted like. And we're all supposed to sit there and just be like, nah, it's cool. It's fine. DJ Envy applauded him. It's like, yeah, I would sit there and do the same thing if somebody sat there and defend. I was like, DJ Envy, first of all, shut the hell up. Okay? Because no one disrespected your wife more than you did. I like to sit there and say this will be the last video that I make about Will Smith because I know a lot of people are just like, they're over it and whatever. And I would like to sit there and say that I would, but I mean, I know that Will Smith is going to sit there and probably do something stupid or even more dumb. And I honestly tell you the truth, he apologized, and so apparently people will be like, well, he apologized, it's okay now. It's all forgiven. We can sit there and support him because he apologized. But, sometimes the apology isn't enough. And I'm not saying he should do more than that, but you know what? Just because you apologize, and that's fine. But that doesn't mean that everyone has to sit there and forgive his actions.